One night, when I was very young, I had the first in a series of the same reoccurring dream. In the dream it was very dark outside, and I slept in the loft in my bedroom, and I'd just be laying there, and I'd have the sudden compulsion to get out of my bed and leave the room. So after climbing down the ladder and going out the bedroom door, I immediately had the feeling I was being watched by someone. I heard a noise coming from my sister's room, so I turned to find my older sister laying dead on the floor with a knife wound in her back. Behind her, a man in a red bathrobe stood, clutching a dagger in his hand. Chills crept down my spine as he spoke. "Get out now. Get out now. Get out now." I ran away from the room and descended the staircase, fear rising quickly. I got to the bottom, and rather than run out the front door, I just turned the doorknob, opened it slightly, and I turned to the right and entered the living room. I ran towards the brown sofa that was against the wall, and I slid behind it in a sort of an effort to hide from the killer. I guess I assumed that the killer would think I'd left the house because of the open door, and he would leave. No more than 10 seconds later, though, my mother's body came tumbling down the stairs with the red bathrobed killer climbing down after it. The killer reached the bottom, peered through the door, and then turned towards the living room. He walked over to the sofa and stuck his head back to where I was hiding. I couldn't get a clear picture of his face, but he spoke the same words as before with a little bit of a difference. "I told you to leave. Get out now. Leave now." I crawled out through the other end of the sofa and ran towards the back door. Now our house sort of sat in the middle of a large piece of land. It was like a 1 acre, I want to say, and there were thorns and poison ivy on either side. And in the back of the yard sat this garden and a shed, and I don't know why I didn't run towards the road in the front yard. Just for some reason I decided to go towards the garden. So I ran back to the garden, and there were a lot of weeds there. The garden wasn't tended very well. It used to be, but my family sort of stopped caring after a little while about the garden. So there was plenty of place to hide in there. You could hide behind a bunch of thorn bushes, and that's what I did. I just sort of hid in the garden. And it wasn't long before I noticed that my dog, my old dog Hamilton, was laying dead next to where I was hiding. I flipped out. I stood up and ran out of the garden and came face to face with the man in the red bathrobe. He stared at me and said, "Get out now. I told you to leave. Go now." So I ran down towards the street as fast as I could. I passed our house, and I was just at the mailbox when I heard a shriek behind me. I turned around and saw the red bathrobed man stab my little sister. He dropped her body and then came towards me. I ran out into the road, and I turned around to realize he was actually following me, even after I had left. It wasn't long before I realized that, being older and much more in shape, he was faster than me. He eventually caught up to me, knocked me down to the ground, and it was then that I noticed who he was because his face was illuminated by the nearby streetlight. It was my father. He had a dagger in his hand, blood dripping from it, and he stood over my body. It was then that he proceeded to say, "I told you to leave. I told you to leave. Why didn't you leave?" That's when he knelt down next to me and plunged the dagger into my chest. this is where the dream ends. Now I want to say I had that dream about 4 or 5 times between the ages of 6 and 9. And I don't know why I had the dream so many times, or why I had it in the first place. So if you have any idea what this dream could have meant to someone who was 6 years old, just post it down in the comments. And please subscribe if you would like to hear about more of my dreams. Alright, thanks.